Welcome back for my videos on C programming on Visual Studio 2019. I'll be showing a lot of programming examples on linked lists. So in this video, I'm going to show you how we could construct a very simple singly linked list. So let's quickly go to the Visual Studio. So let me just open a new file. I'll call it as singly linked list.c. Right, so as usual, we will say include stdio.h and also include malloc.h, and let us now declare the structure required for linked list. So I'll call it as structure list, where I have one info field, integer, then self-referential structure, that is structure, I'll say list. It's an auto completion kind of thing. So I'll just remove this star link. I'll call it as star link. So I have my structure for the linked list defined. Now I'll say type definition, type def structure list or p or star node. I'll call it as, because it's going to be a type, so let us use uppercase. So now node is a pointer declaration of type list. What is list? List is a structure consisting of two members, one info field, another one is a pointer to the same, that is list itself. So it's a self-referential structure. Now once you define this, now we can declare two functions. I'll call it as insert friend, where I would be receiving my element to be added, and also that is the pointer. So I'll show the main program later. So the functionality of this particular function is that it receives the element to be added or inserted in the friend of P, where P is a linked list, which is holdings, maybe holding or it may be null, because if initially the first element we are trying to add it, then of course P will be null. Okay, so now we will try to finish this function first, and then we will go for how to print it and how to make our main program. So what do? We'll just declare a temporary pointer variable of type node, and we will get the memory for this. This is nothing but node of typecasting node, and malloc size of structure list. Because I need that much of memory, it's overall size of the structure called list. That means inclusive of info and link. So info may be, I need 2 bytes, and link fields and address may be 2 bytes, and totally 4 bytes will be allocated for this particular temporary variable called temp. Now I can say temp of info equals whatever the element which I have received here as a parameter. Then now supposing if P is null, then what should I do? As per the linked list, we have already put this temp of info as the element. This is the first element which our first node which we are trying to create, and that's why P is null. And we can simply say that temp of link is equal to null because this is the first node being created. Now, otherwise what happens? Otherwise, right? Okay, if it is not, that means it has already some node. So we have to insert in the front. So how do we insert to the front? So temp of link should point to P. Then temp of link will point to P and P should take the address of temp. P should take the address of temp. Then we can say return P. So if it is the first node being created, P will be null and temp of link will be null, and P should hold. Okay, so that also we can actually do it here itself. We can save one statement here. Right, so if it is the first node being created, P will be null and temp of link will be null, the else will not be executed, and P will point to temp, which means only one node, return P. Now supposing if it is not, then it will come to else class. So P of info we have already put the element, only thing is we have to link it, so temp of link is going to point to P. Now P will point, so that means the first node is being pointed by P, return P. So successfully we have added the element E, the current element E, to the front of P. So now we can write the print one, that is display my singly linked list with node as my. So if P equals null, then you can say printf empty list. Right? Else you can browse through. That means first print the node element equal to, or we say %d one space element pointed by P, and we have to advance. So oh sorry, this is display, right? Now we need a for loop. So this is can return. Now we need a while loop. So while, you can use for loop also, while P not equal to null, because we have to browse through each and every node. So starting from first node pointed by P, and every node we have to go through. So the first node will be just printing using its info field, and next we have to advance. That means P equals P of info, sorry, P of next or link. And again go here, P is not null. Let's say second element is printed if it is there. Supposing if it's not there, of course we would already reached null. There's the last node and hence we will come out. So we can say one heading here, elements in singly linked list. Okay, that's it. Right, now we will write the main program. Now let us assume here that we would like to add many elements, not just one. Okay, because we can show all those things as a linked kind of a list. So what we do is we will first declare the data being read and being added. So since we have to add many nodes, we will use a looping structure, in this case an indefinite loop. So I'll also declare pointer variable P and P initialized to null to start with, and this is a definite loop. Why? Because once you read in a value, the elemental value, that is data, which is -1, let's assume that we will stop reading the elements. So first you say printf enter data and scanf %d ampersand data. So you're reading the data, and if the data is -1, now break, come out. Otherwise you can add this, that means call insert friend by sending this data and also P, and it will return the current one pointed by P to that updated linked list. So this while loop will actually read in the data using scanf, and it will check whether it is -1. If so, just break it, it's done. Otherwise you can add the data into the front of the pointer being pointed by P. So now we will display sending P. So let's try this. If we get errors, we will correct it. Otherwise we'll be able to. Okay, so now we have completed the main program, and we'll just try to, main program with a return and also the two functions, insert friend and the display function. So we'll just execute this now and see what happens. Yeah, so enter data. So I'll just show you, enter data. So 34, 12. So I'll keep entering few, 6, etc. -1 will terminate the while loop. Yeah, now you can see here that we have got all the elements, like 6 is the latest one, and added friend 98 was prior to that, 12 and 34. So all the 4 elements are being displayed in the linked list. So this completes the program on singly linked list using C. Thanks for watching, and we will meet once again on some other topic. Thank you once again.